Hello, everyone. I want to thank you for joining me for this business growth explosion blueprint. I did notice from the signups, we've got people literally from all over the world, which is exciting. And right now, hopefully you can hear me. If for any reason you can't hear me, then I would just go ahead and put something in that question box and hit submit, and I'll actually get that. And and I will check, and I'm going to give everybody just a minute or two to go ahead and get on board here. There were quite a few signups, and we have room. The service I'm using is actually part of Google Hangout, so there's plenty of room for lots of people, and I want to make sure everybody's here. It's just now 3:00 my time. I will say this is the official start, but I am going to give everybody just a second to show up. And like I said, if you do have a question, you can put it into the question box underneath the video and hit submit. I will get that question, and and then of course we'll go from there. I will have a short Q&A session if there are enough questions at the end. Otherwise, we'll just wrap everything up. But at any rate, let me know if you have any questions and if you can hear me good. All right, I'm getting a thumbs up. People tell me they can hear me, and so that's good. This is being recorded. There will be a replay link that I will send out to everybody. So here we are, the business growth explosion. My name's Mike McMahon, and I'll tell you a little bit more about myself here in just a minute. And I'm going to make a promise to you. In this training, I'm going to show you why the feast or famine cycle exists in your business. I'm going to help you understand how to break that cycle once and for all, and how you can have your own business growth explosion. You'll know how to have an endless supply of qualified clients. But first, I want to make a disclaimer. An age can't be too safe. Look, I am going to do everything I can to be accurate and authoritative with the information I provide. I am a subject matter expert on business growth, but I don't render legal advice, accounting advice, or professional services, and I am making no revenue claims or guarantees. The fact is, my clients have had phenomenal growth, but their growth is not typical. I can't guarantee that what I'm going to share with you will give you the same results, because quite frankly, I don't know what you will do with this information. So if you're looking for guarantees on income or whatever, I'm not the person to do it. And I got to say that to cover my butt with the FTC. So anyway, having that's out of the way, we can get the most out of our time together, and you'll get the benefit out of this if you'll just eliminate outside distractions. If you get yourself off into a quiet space, shut off your cell phone, and know the world won't suddenly come to an end. And if you're a note taker, people that tend to take notes have much higher retention. And so, I recommend you get something to write with. And I challenge you to expect to learn something. This will make a difference for you and your business and your family, and or all of the above. And so if you expect to learn something, if you're looking for that nugget, you're going to find it. Now, who is this for? Well, small business owners, solopreneurs, solo practitioners, coaches, consultants, whether you're a massage therapist, a chiropractor, a doctor, a dentist, an architect, or, a plumber. Anybody that's stuck in their business that wants to know how to make it grow. That's who this is for. Just as importantly, who is this not for? Well, this isn't for anybody that's looking for get-rich-quick schemes. If you're not willing to work, then this isn't going to work for you either. But I don't think anybody would be on this webinar, this training, if they weren't willing to work. As a matter of fact, when I talk to small business owners, I find that as a group, we happen to be the hardest working people out there. If you're set in your ways, you're not really interested in change, you don't want to know about proven strategies to grow your business, this isn't for you. And also, if you don't deliver valuable service or products, I'd really prefer you just get off the webinar. And the reason I say that is the strategies and the tactics that I'm going to share work, and they don't actually care whether you do good or bad. So I wouldn't want somebody to abuse what I'm going to share. And so I'm really only looking for people that come from a place of integrity and offer the most they can for their clients. The other thing you want to do is you want to stay all the way to the end. And biggest reason for that is I speak in complete systems, and everything I talk about will be tied together. The other thing is if you leave early, you're going to miss valuable information. You might miss that nugget that is responsible for doubling your business over the next 12 months. And as a bribe, just call it like it is. Stay to the end. I'm going to give you my marketing grading sheet. It's what I use so that I know before I even run an ad whether or not it's going to work. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. And just so you know what to expect, I like to paint big pictures and then I drill down on them. So I like to teach you the thinking behind the strategy. That way you're ready for it. So what we're going to cover today is why you're stuck and you experience the feast or famine cycle in your business. Or if it's not so much feast or famine, you're just not hitting the revenue goals that you desire. We're going to work through how you break that cycle once and for all and how you can hit the income levels that you want. And I'm going to show you how to create an endless supply of qualified new clients. Plus, I'm going to help you to shift how you think about your marketing, and you'll understand when we get there, it'll make a tremendous difference in your success. And I'm going to show you how to have your own business growth explosion. And so a little bit about my background. You know, I'm going to share this with you because I think it's important for you to understand how I think and why I'm able to see what I can see in businesses. I went to a vocational technical high school, and for my junior and senior year, I actually spent half of every day working on cars, learning how to become a mechanic. Quite frankly, it was wonderful. I had a great time. I had a great teacher, and and I learned a lot more than just the basics. I literally graduated high school an auto mechanic, and I could do engine rebuilds, transmission teardowns, repair and rebuild a rear end, obviously brakes and everything in between. You can imagine if I was into mechanics, I liked cars, and I had quite a few fast cars. I'm not going to show you all of them, but this was the fastest one I had. And, and I got in my fair share of trouble with it, but I also learned a lot. Blew the motor up once, shelled the transmission, ruined the rear end. I went through the whole car, not to mention how many clutches. But the reason I bring this up is because it began my thinking, from a troubleshooting point of view and systems point of view. It wasn't too long after I graduated high school that I actually joined the Navy. That's the last ship that I was on. It's the USS Jewett Guided Missile Cruiser number 29. It's actually razor blades now. Not really. They sunk it off the ocean for a test, but it's no more. Guided missile cruisers are awesome and amazing ships. The reality is that they're a forward projection of power for the United States Navy. And you can imagine if it's a missile cruiser, they have missiles. And let me give you a little close up here. This right here, obviously, as you can see, is the missile. But this system up here, this square radar that actually rotates, that is the 48 Echo Air Search Radar. I was trained to not only maintain and operate that, but to troubleshoot and repair it. These are the 55 Bravo Mod 9 fire control radars. I was a fire controlman, and no, that doesn't mean I took care of fires. It means I took care of weapons systems. And so these are the fire control radars, and they actually, both of these work together so that we can fire the missile. And that's really the goal. We want to be able to shoot down the bad guys before they get close to us. And so it was that training as I began to understand not just mechanics, but electronics, the troubleshooting and, just the details of reading schematics and working on complex systems. And it was that very thing that made all the difference in how I came to think about business. And I know you're probably thinking, what does mechanics and electronics have to do with business? But the 48 Echo radar covered 7 different decks. The 55 Bravo Mod 9 radar, it was on 9 different decks. We had 14 different workspaces. I mean, these were large, complex, multi-million-dollar systems. And not only do we have to operate them, but we had to maintain them and fix them when they broke. And, I became very, very good at troubleshooting and the process of troubleshooting. And it applied later in my life. I take things very methodically. And so, one of the reasons you might be asking yourself why I listen to this guy, but the fact is I've sold everything from businesses to Kirby vacuums, big ticket, little ticket. The largest thing I sold was over $1 million. I've closed over 12,000 sales. I have, personally responsible, my teams and myself, for over $145 million in goods and services being sold. I've trained over 1,200 salespeople, and I've become known as a business growth expert, sometimes even a turnaround expert. And in the process of my career, I was a business broker. I analyzed over 700 small businesses. Excuse me. And I could see things that, became very obvious why some businesses worked and some struggled. And so that started, again, causing me to think differently and take a look at some things. So here's a couple of successes I've had. You may have heard of one coach. John Assaraf started that company while it was a startup, before they had any clients, 0 sales. I established the sales process for selling coaching and consulting. I hired and trained the sales team, and I enrolled over 1,600, not me, but my team and we enrolled over 1,600 clients worth more than $7 million in revenue in our first 6 months. Another company was WordSmart. They're an educational software company. You may have seen Alex Trebek's commercials for them. They were doing $85,000 a month, but they were $2 million in debt, and they were losing money hand over fist. I came in and doubled sales in the first month. We turned around and doubled them again in the second month. Part of that was putting good quotas in place, better sales training. Obviously, I hired some salespeople. 90 days later, we turned around and we tripled sales again. Anyway, long story short, we went all the way to $1.6 million a month with a healthy 23% profit margin. They were debt-free, and when I left them, they owned their own building, which was worth more than $2.3 million out in San Diego, California. Another company, a little different. They had already established company, 25 years old. They were kind of stuck. He really had never figured out how to get past $5 million in annual revenue. And let me make it clear, there's a profound difference between companies doing $1 million a year and under and $5 million and above. And it goes up exponentially, 10 million and more and 15 million, 20 million. There's just a big difference in those companies. So he hadn't ever gotten past the $5 million mark. So by the time we were done, 14.7 million in sales. My processes, training, and team increased new client acquisitions by 412%, over 4 million a year just in brand new clients. You can imagine a 25-year-old firm that had a pretty extensive listing of existing clients. And so then I turned around and I put that into specific territories and, again, held people accountable, put systems in place. And we had a 30% increase in existing client sales immediately. All in all, ended up at 14.7 million in sales. John Assaraf, you may have used in the hit movie The Secret. He's the entrepreneur in that movie. John was the CEO. He's the starter, co-founder of One Coach. John's built 5 multi-million-dollar companies. Truth is, 2 of his companies are billion-dollar companies. That's billion with a B. And John tells people about me that I understand sales and human nature really as well as anyone out there. I'm a great asset to everyone that I come in contact with, and John highly recommends me, especially if you need any sales management training or consulting. So enough about me. Let's talk about what your situation is and what goes on in the small business world. The truth is, I'm sure you've all heard the statistic that 80% of the businesses fail, and most people hear it's in the first 5 years. Truth is, it's actually in the first 18 months. Now, the big reason for that is that they simply run out of cash. But that's actually just a symptom. That's not, it's the problem because, without cash, you're in trouble. But most businesses fail simply because they aren't in touch with their customers at a deep level. And what that really means is they don't actually know what their customers need. The other reason they fail is that their business doesn't look any different than anybody else's. If you can't stand out and separate yourself, then you are competing, and you're competing on price. And it's not a good recipe for success. Why should I go to you if everybody else looks the same? The third reason is that they aren't clearly able to compellingly communicate their unique selling proposition or their value proposition. And worse yet, over 90% of them They don't even have one. So really, when it's all said and done with, if you cannot in a single sentence clearly articulate what your benefit is to your clients, what makes you different, what makes you better, then that's homework right now. That's something you need to be working on. Now, what I found with most small businesses, we talked about that feast or famine cycle. And, a lot of it comes down to how your business is organized. Now, this is a typical organization chart. You'll see CEO, COO, HR, CFO, VP, 10 managers. I mean, obviously this is a bigger business org chart. And, in a small business, you wouldn't have all the managers or anything. But here's the problem. You still have those roles and responsibilities. And so in a small business, what I find is the org chart looks a lot more like this. You're wearing every single hat. So the reason this adds to your feast or famine cycle is that when you put your prospecting hat on, you go out and you prospect, you get busy, you get clients, and then all of a sudden you got to put your deliver the service hat on. And so you start taking care of these clients and doing the work that you just went out and sold. And while you're doing the work that you went out and sold, you're busy. Well, then because you're busy, then you don't have time to prospect. And so because you're not prospecting, well, then all of a sudden your sales kind of start to dip. And then pretty soon you get to where you're not really that busy and you've got time to prospect. And well, so it's like this never-ending cycle. And you have great months and then you have bad months. And you have great months and you have bad months. And the problem is that if you don't have a automated process bringing in clients to you all the time, and I don't mean any clients, I mean highly qualified clients, then you're going to struggle. And so, that's the feast or famine cycle. And that's also, not only is it the feast or famine cycle, but this very issue about your organization and the fact that you wear every single hat, it's keeping you from growing beyond a certain level. It's called the ceiling of complexity. And what that means is that since you're all by yourself, or even if you have a small team, 2 or 3 people working for you, you can only handle as much as you have systems and procedures and processes in place to handle. And anything beyond that, well, it's just too much. It's not going to work. So you have to break through that ceiling. And that's done by putting processes in place to free up your time so you can work on other things. And so, we'll talk about that. But, the big thing is, I want you to know it's not your fault. Look, if you're struggling, you're frustrated, it isn't your fault. The reality is, it's not a lack of willpower. This is not a issue of being gullible or anything like that, or a moral failure on your part. The question is, who taught you how to run and grow your business? If you're like most of the small business owners I work with, the answer is no one. Who taught you how to market your business so that you have an endless supply of qualified clients? Again, it's usually no one. And, the challenge is, as a small business owner, we get so caught up in the day-to-day operation, the endless struggle of trying to make ends meet, cover payroll, get in new clients, solve customer service issues, that we don't have time to breathe. And, sometimes even if we're making money, and oftentimes when I talk to the busiest small business owners, it's not how much money they're making, it's how much life they don't have. They're just so busy. They're working 80 hours a week. And for some of them, they'd think 80 hours a week would be easy because they're working more than that. And so they haven't got the processes and procedures and plan in place so that they aren't working, 12 and 15-hour days. If nobody ever taught you, how would you ever know? So the other challenge that small businesses run into is how they bring in all of their revenue. So typically, a business will bring in the revenue, whether it's direct sales or whatever. They have 1, maybe 2 methods to work on bringing in clients and revenue. And so what happens is, if one of those approaches that you're using doesn't work as well, then your business loses steam and you begin to lose market share. So if you've always relied on word of mouth or a particular type of advertising and it's not working like it used to, because, we've all seen changes in advertising. I mean, newsprint is dying. It's really struggling as far as the readership goes. Radio's its own problem because people can listen to Pandora or, jump on Spotify, or they have CDs or MP3 players or whatever. The advertising climate has changed. And if so, that's where you were getting all your clients and things are stopping, then this is why. It's because you're putting all of your business in one place. So there's really not a lot of stability here. So what would happen if you began to focus specifically on formalizing your market profit centers, your marketing profit centers? If you didn't just rely on whatever that one was. I mean, I had direct sales there, but it could have easily just as easily have been advertising, or it could be referrals or whatever, but most businesses have one or two. What if you really went all out and you had taken the time to put together not just one or two, but a whole plan? So you weren't just relying on advertising or direct sales. You were implementing direct mail. Or if you developed an upsell, and an upsell would be at the point of sale, what else could I offer so I get more revenue in that sale? Or you had a back end offer. So, some of you listening to this, you make one sale and you're done. Well, what if there was something you could come back to that client with 30 days, 60 days, 90 days later to make an additional sale, or a formalized referral system? Lots of businesses depend on word of mouth and referrals, but they're not doing anything to control that or make that happen. And then, even joint ventures. Who could you partner up with? Who works in your marketplace that is not direct competition, but is complementary to what you do? And then of course there's telemarketing. I know it has a bad name, but the truth is it's still very, very effective. And, a lot of people gave up on direct mail. It's kind of funny, as all the online social media and everything else is picked up, lots of businesses have flocked to social media and they've abandoned their direct mail. Well, that created an opportunity, because right now people are getting less mail and the open rates have gone up. So whereas, for a long time they were saying 2.2%, and we'll talk about this more later, 2% was a good open or response rate. The Postal Service is now reporting that most businesses are getting a 4.4% response rate. So twice what it used to be. So anyway, what happened to your revenue level and your profits if you combined a wide array of marketing approaches? You see, it's this kind of approach where you're not depending on one or two things, but you've got multiple revenue streams so that your business can grow exponentially. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about how you can grow a business, because the reality is there's only 3 ways to grow a business, and that's any business. There are only 3 ways. I don't care what the business is. First off, get more clients. Now, this is actually where most businesses spend the majority of their time, effort, and energy. They're working really, really hard to get new people into their business. Truth is, it takes about 8 times as much money to bring somebody in as it does to get an existing customer to continue, to do repeat business with you. So not only do we've got more clients, then we want more revenue per sale, or a higher average transaction value. So there's a number of ways, and we'll get into it. I'll give you ideas, and you definitely want to be writing this stuff down, but I'm going to share with you more than 25 different ways to address these issues. But more revenue per sale. How can I get the clients to spend more money each time they do spend money with me? And then more repeat orders. The frequency that somebody does business with you. Well, maybe right now it's twice a year. Maybe it's once every 5 years. What happens if you can increase that? And so, like I said, most businesses spend all their time, effort, and energy working on number 1, more clients. Well, let me show you how to have a business growth explosion. See, this formula right here, the number of clients times the revenue per the order times the number of repeat orders, this formula is the beginning of your business growth explosion. So let's just say, and I'm just putting numbers in here, we had 100 clients that spent an average of $1,000 per order. Now, your numbers might be higher, they might be lower. It doesn't matter. It's the concept here. Whether you got 1,000 clients or 50 clients, and whether the sale's $50 or $5,000, it doesn't matter. I'm just putting easy to use numbers in here. The formula works regardless. And let's say they order twice a year. So if you've got 100 clients, $1,000 in order, 2 times a year, that's $200,000. Now, like I said, most businesses spend all their time just getting clients. But what do you think would happen if we worked on all 3 at once? So here's what I want to show you. If we just have a 10% increase, so we have 110 clients, we've got $1,100 in revenue per order, and we get 2.2 sales instead of 2, that's $266,200. That's a 33% increase. So when we just do 10% more in each of the only 3 areas to grow a business, we yield a 33% increase in revenue. Can you begin to see why I can go into a business and blow it up? You can do this too. So let's show you how this really grows. If we work on our clients and revenue and repeat orders, and we did a 33% increase in each one, just a third, that's not that big a number. We're talking about 133 clients instead of 100, $1,330 instead of 1,000, and 2.66 repeat orders instead of 2. What do you think the revenue goes up to? Would you believe $470,527? That is a whopping 135% increase. It's exponential growth. When you work on all 3 at once, it's a force multiplier. It's a military term. Bottom line is it's amazing. So here's the thing to look at. If you want to get more clients, these are the things you need to focus on. You have to increase your lead generation. There's a number of ways you can do that, but certainly you want to work on, and you want to write this down. I'll go through it so it's not crazily fast, but I've been accused of talking fast. I will go through this, moderately so you can get them written down. But you want to increase your lead generation. That means you need referral systems, not just depending on random word of mouth. Put a process in place. You need to consider, you don't have to do this, but one strategy, and I'll talk about it twice because it's that important. One strategy is to acquire clients at break even on the initial sale, and then you make a profit on the back end. So it depends on the type of business you have, but it works. You want to guarantee their purchase using risk reversal. That means 100% money back guarantee, or some people will do 200%, or, if you don't like this, I'll give you your money back and buy you a steak dinner. What you want to do is you're basically removing the resistance to purchase. Advertising. I mean, I could do an hour and just getting started on advertising. And advertising's online and offline. It's it's in print and on the air, so whether you're doing radio, online, in print, it could be direct mail, telemarketing, any of those things. Advertising is all of that, pay-per-click, social media. You want to use direct mail. If you're not using direct mail, you want to start testing direct mail. And same with telemarketing. These are all things to increase your leads. Run special events or education nights, things, the VIP, things like that. Buy qualified leads. That's the SRDS. So there's all kinds of places to buy qualified leads, but just go to the library, ask them if they have an SRDS, which stands for the Standard Rates Data Sheet. That's like a $600 a year, or might even be a quarter. I have bought millions of leads in my professional career, and I always subscribe to the SRDS. I think it was $600 a quarter. But it's worth it because you can go through and you get to see every type of lead that's in there, and it really makes a big difference. Later on, I just started using list brokers that I trusted, and I quit making that subscription because they would have it. But you can check it out at the library, and if your library doesn't have it, then you ask around. They'll be able to point you in the right direction. Develop a unique selling proposition. In other words, how do you stand out? What makes you different? Why are you better? Increase the perceived value of your product or service through better client education. There's a lot of things about your business or the service that you provide that you take for granted that your client doesn't even know about. They could be extra safety procedures that you do or certifications that you have. There's things along those lines that when your client understands that or knows that, it's part of how you can differentiate yourself. And it also increases your value in their eyes. Use PR campaigns. A lot of people don't use press releases. They're a phenomenal way to get media attention. Offer a free report to capture early prospects. There's a ton right there. Let me talk about this just a little bit for the free report concept. So at any given time, there's about 3% of the market that's in the market for whatever it is you have or whatever, you service you provide. At the same time, there's 70% of the market that could be influenced to do business with you. The thing that everybody does with their advertising is they go after the 3%. It's called response marketing. They're trying to find the people that are in the market right now. You open up the paper and you want to buy a couch, you see a couch ad, you go buy that couch, maybe. But chances are pretty good if you were already in the market, you kind of already had an idea where you were going to go to get that couch. So the ad has to do something to sway you to at least come consider doing business with them. And in most cases, the ads are poorly written. They don't. There's not a big benefit statement there. And so but that's the 3%. But people don't wake up this morning thinking I'm going to buy a couch, and it's the first time they've ever thought about it. There's a buying decision process that your buyers go through. And the better you understand what their decision-making process is, the better you understand how to market to them. Well, 70% of the market was thinking about it a long time before they went shopping. For some things, big things, houses, things like that, it could be 2 years. Well, if you put together the right free report because you understand their emotional needs, their hot buttons, then you could capture them at the beginning of the sales cycle. And you've got this lead that you get to nurture because you're going to educate them and build value in a relationship with them. And when you do that, you're the expert. You're the only person they're going to want to do business with because you have taken the time to express to them the solution to their problems. And so, and if you do it right, a lot of times you can shorten that decision-making process, so you could bring it down. So that's the free report strategy. Do you want 3% of the market, or would you prefer to have 70% of the market? The other thing when you want to get more clients is you need to increase your client retention. It's real simple. The longer my clients stay with me, the longer they do business with me, the more clients I have, the more revenue I have. So you want to deliver higher than expected levels of service. That's why early on in the training, I said, if you're not interested in delivering high value, then this isn't for you. Well, this is part of it. If you want to keep your clients longer, you've got to go above and beyond. And it could be simple. It could be a handwritten thank you note. Could be one thing you could do. There's all kinds of things that you can do to deliver higher than expected levels of service. If you're a oil repair shop, oil change place, and somebody comes in and gets their oil, but when they come pick their oil change and they come pick their car up and it's been washed and vacuumed, how do you think that makes them feel? And let's say they spend $35 and everybody else is charging $30, or it's $40 and everybody else is charging $30. Well, do you think that $10 extra is worth the car wash? I do. Just something to think about. Communicate frequently with your clients, nurture them, and build up a relationship. Think about your customers as someone you want to get to know, and you want to get to know well, and you want them to know you and to trust you. And the stronger that relationship is, the longer they will stay with you, the more likely they are to refer you to their friends and their family, and you want them to become raving fans. So this all works together. Increased conversion from inquiry to sale is, this is really a training issue in most cases. You want to get your sales skills up on your staff, and that's everybody. That's the person that answers the phone to the person that's sweeping the floors. If you're the only one in your business, well, then it's you. But you have to master your sales skills, and that starts with how the phone is answered, all the way through how the service is delivered, how the bill is collected. All of these are conversations that you're having with your client. But at the same time, prospects, how do you convert more prospects? And these are sales skill trainings that have to happen. So again, I talked earlier about acquiring clients at a break even, make a profit on the back end. It's a great, your competition isn't doing this stuff. You implement even a fraction of this, and you will not have any competition. Risk reversal, that strong guarantee, remove their reason to not, their fear of doing business with you. And then advertising, again, it's in here. These are all things that you can do, proper advertising, so that people come to you pre-sold. Big difference. Hire salespeople. If you can't afford to pay a big salary, then don't. Start looking carefully for people that will work on 100% commission. Figure out how to, one of the businesses I started, I actually sat down and figured out how much I could pay my salespeople above and beyond. I mean, it was crazy. I gave them almost 100% of the initial revenue that the client brought in because they were straight commission. And the reason I did that, one, I wanted it to be a very lucrative and appealing sales opportunity. I didn't want them looking and going elsewhere. But the other reason I did it is because this was something that the client was going to bring in money, on a recurring basis. And so I already knew, I had a good idea what the client was going to be worth. So it was worth it to me to pay the big chunk up front. It's called sacrificing short-term gains for long-term profit. So by giving the big chunk up front, I excited the salesperson, got them motivated to go out and get more clients. Obviously, the more clients I had, the more profits the company made. So it was a win-win. So something to think about. Now, the other thing you need to focus on is revenue, average transaction value. And so part of this is, again, sales training. You want to teach your team how to do upsells and cross sells, and so if you don't know what an upsell is somebody comes in for, a basic oil change, and you upsell them to a premium package, which includes an oil change, as well as, an air conditioning tune-up and a radiator flush, and that's an upsell. A cross-sell would be somebody comes in for the oil change, and you sell them on a detail job. It's not related, but it's similar because it obviously has to do with their car. Point of sale promotions. We've all been in the store. We know what it's like. You go up to the register and there's all that stuff right there by the register to check out. And so it works, but it doesn't just have to be at a register, whether it's a grocery store or retail establishment. Any business can use point of sale. So let's say you're a car repair place. You do body repair. And you're closing out the order. Well, when you're closing out the order at that same time, and this is an upsell to cross-sell, but it's at the point of sale. So I'm making the point of sale. I could say, hey, you know what? These are the things you need to do to take care of your paint for the next 6 months. We just happen to have this handy little package and this nice bucket, and, it's only $69. And normally, if you went out and bought this stuff, it'd be $129, but this is what we recommend for your paint. Boom, boom, boom. Simple sale. I just increased the value. And if it's a 50% profit margin, which would not be uncommon, it doesn't sound like much, but I just picked up another $35 or $40, multiply that times the number of clients you have. It begins to make a difference. So if you package complementary products and services together, you can create a bigger bundle. And when you create a bigger bundle, obviously it's a higher ticket. So, you're a carpet cleaner. And if I'm doing carpet, I could turn around and say, hey, we're already here. We have a special if you're, for your furniture. We can clean your furniture while you're cleaning your carpet. They work together. It was similar to the idea I was talking about on the oil change. We can go ahead and do a radiator flush or whatever. The other option, just increase your prices. You instantly improve your margins. Now, it's interesting. I study a lot of businesses, and very few of them are in a market where they can't increase their prices. Almost all business owners can increase their prices, and instantly that's going to improve your margins, obviously. In many cases, you'll find that when you increase your prices, it goes with the next one here. We're going to change the profile of your products or services to be more upmarket. Sometimes you'll draw a completely different clientele when you charge a higher price. And, and there's a point, you got to sit down and do the math. The truth is, if you did a 30% increase in your prices across the board, you could actually lose quite a few clients and still make the same profit, and you wouldn't have to work as hard. So, there's a challenge, there's a balance there that you want to find. Now, obviously, you'd like to increase your prices, not lose anybody, and in fact, go out and get additional clients. Well, that can be done too. The other way would be to just put together bigger units, larger packages. Think of Costco and things like that. They specialize in the whole bulk sale. Now, because we talked about client, talked about get more money per order. Now we need to increase the frequency. And so part of that, one of the things you could do would be to develop a back end, have other products or services that you can go back to the client with so that they buy more often. Again, communicating to them personally, big clients, do it with every client you can. Obviously, the more value they bring to your company, the more you want to communicate with them, but try to do it with everybody. You can't necessarily call everybody by phone if you've got, a couple thousand clients, but you can certainly call your bigger clients, but you can reach out to everybody with email or social media. There's all kinds of ways to maintain that relationship. You can endorse other people's products to your clients. So the way that works, it just has to be something that you think your clients would be interested in. Obviously, your name is going to be associated with it, so you want to make sure it's top notch, but you will get paid for doing that. And you'll find that it's part of a joint venture. It works both ways, and it's a wonderful way to bring in hidden revenue. You can do special events. We talked about it a little bit earlier, closed door sales, limited pre-release sales, etc. What if you did price inducements to increase frequency? I'll give you an example. So let's imagine you're a hairstylist. And so, the average person's coming into you every other week. Well, think about, we talked about this business growth explosion. If we increase the revenue per transaction, we increase the frequency, well, that's going to have a big impact. So what if this person's coming in every other week? We talk to them about how, hey, studies have shown this is the hair growth cycle, and if you really just want to look your best, now what they could do is say, hey, listen, I know you're coming in every other week. I'll tell you what, if you start coming in weekly, I'll knock $5 off. Doesn't sound like much, but you'd be surprised. A lot of people will go for it. You can do this with any kind of business. Put together a loyalty or a rewards club. They work, and lots and lots of the larger store chains have figured it out. And, they have clients earning points. What do you think the whole frequent flyer mile thing is? It's a rewards club, and it works. So those are just a couple of things to think about. There's more than 25 of them there. I hope you were taking notes. If I went too fast, there will be a replay of this. You can watch it again. But if you do even a fraction of those, I'm telling you, you will not have competition. I don't care what town you're in, because businesses, as a general rule, don't do this stuff. And that's you can just eliminate your competition very quickly by practicing these techniques, and you'll have your own business growth explosion. So another thing I want you to think about is ROI versus response rate. Earlier I was talking about direct mail, how right now it's running at about 4.4%. It used to be 2%, was pretty typical. That doesn't mean people didn't get better or worse. I mean, some people get 1%, some people get 0%. Maybe you've done a direct mail campaign and spent a couple $1,000 or $1,200 and got nothing out of it. So here's the thing. It doesn't make any difference what the response rate is, and I'll prove it to you. So if you mail out 5,000 pieces and you get a 2% response rate, that's going to be 100 responses. 5,000 times 0.02 equals 100. Now, the question is that good or bad? Well, we'll put some numbers to it. 5,000 mailers with postage cost approximately $7,500. It could be a little less. It could even be more if you got a really complicated mailer, lots of pages. If you just did postcards, it'd obviously be less. But if you get 100 responses and you paid $7,500 to get the mailer out there, it's a $75 per response. Not complicated. Good or bad? Kind of depends. How many of those responses become clients? What if none of them become clients? I'd say it's terrible. On the other hand, and if you're selling a little $100 widget, you're in trouble, because let's say even if half of them become clients, you're still in the whole $2,500, unless the client's worth a whole lot more, and over their lifetime they're going to make you money. But if what you're offering is $5,000 or $15,000 or $25,000 worth of products or services, and there's a lot of people on this call, that's their situation. If you have a decent profit margin, you get 10 new clients, that could be anywhere from $50,000 to $250,000 in additional revenue. Was it worth it? Was that good or bad? Like I said, it's your return on investment, not the response rate, that matters. This is true whether you're doing Facebook pay-per-click or Google pay-per-click or any online media. You want to pay attention to things like response rate, the click-through, those kinds of things, because it's a metric that helps you know whether or not it's working. But in the end, what matters is whether or not you made money. So if I spend $5,000 and I get back clear $6,000, how many times am I going to do that? Over and over and over. And with a little bit of split testing, a little bit of tweaking, some improvement to my copywriting, I can turn that $6,000 into $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000. And then I have back end offers. That's just the initial sale. How many more times is this client going to do business with me over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years? So those are all keys to making marketing. And I got up here direct mail. It doesn't matter whether it's direct mail, telemarketing, advertising, anything you do. If you spend $600 on a full page ad, or a $1,200, depending on where you're at, or $1,500, depending on the publication, and you get back 3, 4, 5, 10 times what you invested, who cares what the response rate is? That's a good ad. So anyway, so this picture, some of you may know what it is, some may not. This is your foundation for success. And what I'm talking about here is that when they build a skyscraper or any building, obviously there's a foundation. And what that starts with is a big hole in the ground. Now, an architect or a contractor or somebody very familiar with construction could look at how big that hole is, and somebody with a lot of experience would be able to predict how big the building is going to be. And the way this relates to your business, the effort and the energy you put into your foundation, the processes and the systems that you put in place, those are your foundation. So remember, we were talking back earlier about how, a lot of businesses have 1 or 2 ways of bringing in revenue. Well, if you dig a deeper foundation and you have 4, 6, 8, or 10 revenue streams coming into your business, there isn't anything to stop you. So the real issue is, how high will you go? What's your scope? Where do you want to take your business? So I appreciate your time. I want to make sure that I covered everything I said I would. We talked about why you're stuck and experiencing that feast or famine cycle, and, maybe, or for that matter, why you're not hitting your revenue goals. We talked about how to break that cycle once and for all and hit the income level you want. I went through how you can create an endless supply of qualified new clients. I gave you 25, actually, I think there's 28 different things to work on to build that process up. And I hope I was able to help you shift how you think about your marketing, ROI versus return on investment versus response. And when you work on all 3 ways to grow your business at once, and that's getting clients, more revenue per sale, and more repeat orders, you can have your own business growth explosion. And so I appreciate you taking the time. Time is one of our most valuable assets. That's the one thing that makes us all equal. And, one of the things I'd like to share is my mission is to help 1,000 small business owners and entrepreneurs regain control of their lives, build the business and income they've always thought was possible, so they enjoy the freedom and the lifestyle they richly deserve. There's a lot to this. You see, I've had a lot of experience working with businesses. I've worked with thousands of business owners. And I know small business owners and entrepreneurs are the backbone of this country. And I am proud that I was in the United States Navy. I am proud to be a veteran of this country. But I know that the infrastructure is in trouble. And I know the only way to save it is to improve our economy. 2/3 of all jobs created are done by small businesses and entrepreneurs. And the different thing is that, if Walmart comes into your town and they decide they're going to expand and they add 50 jobs, that's great. It's 50 jobs. I'm not going to complain about that. But with the exception of the money those 50 people spend locally, most of that money leaves. With your business, when you choose to expand and you add an employee, you're local. You live in your neighborhood. And so when you get new clients that come in, whether it's a new client every week or 5 new clients every week or 10 or however big you build your business, the bulk of what you invest goes back into your local community. And so it's a big, big difference when, I help small business owners and entrepreneurs versus big business. I've done both. I prefer working with small business owners for a lot of reasons. I think it makes a difference. And, I've just had a lot of success helping business owners. Oh. So Rick Lugash, good friend. I helped his franchisees, one in particular, but it was a process we put together for all of them, double their sales in 1 month. Now, the guy that Rick wrote this about didn't have any sales history at all, and I helped him produce something that Rick didn't actually think I could do, even though he knew me. Anyway, in a short series of coaching calls, I gave the guy the sales tools, the belt, that enabled him to double his sales in a single month. And yes, I did double his performance in 1 month. And no, he didn't go from 1 client to 2. It was actually a big ticket sales item, and he went from 6 to 12 and continued to grow from there. Anyway, my education-based sales approach not only taught him how to develop their whole team, how to develop a personal belief system that was in line with what they were offering the marketplace, but I also taught him how to deliver value in a way that was compelling and concise. And, and I can do that for anybody. So what I did, because I have this mission to help 1,000 small business owners and entrepreneurs, I took a look at the failure points. Remember I told you about my background as a mechanic and electronics in the Navy and systems operations and fail points. Well, businesses that fail for specific reasons. And it really doesn't have anything to do with other than the systems weren't in the proper place. So I created the business growth explosion blueprint. And there's 5 components. The first one is automated client attraction and multiplication. Look, you got to get new clients in the door. First thing we work with is your ideal client profile. You need to know exactly who you're targeting. And for different businesses, it's multiple targets. But the bottom line is you got to know who they are, but so you can be very specific in how you approach them. You have to understand their buying decision-making process. What are their hot buttons? What are their needs? What pushes them to do business with your competition instead of you? And when you know that, obviously you can stack the deck in your favor. Creating a unique selling proposition. How do you stand out in a crowd? Seth Godin wrote a great book called Purple Cow. The premise is you're driving down the road and you see a cow. Do you go home and tell your wife? Probably not, especially if you're in an area where they have a lot of cows. On the other hand, if you're driving down the road and all of a sudden there's this big purple cow on the side of the road, what are you going to do? If you're like most people, you're certainly going to stop, slow down, and look. You may get your phone out and take pictures. You might call people and talk about it. It's a purple cow. It's different. That's your unique selling proposition. What's a client's lifetime value? It's critical to know this. And by the way, these are in the order that you need to do them. You can't know your client's lifetime value or even create a unique selling proposition until you understand the ideal client profile and their decision-making process. So how much is the client worth over their life? This tells you what you can afford to invest to acquire a new client. It also tells you a lot of other things. Creating a revenue plan and a gap analysis. Do you have a revenue plan for your business? How do you know whether or not you're going to hit your goals? And the gap analysis is where you are now to where you want to be. It's real simple, not complicated, but it's important. And you can put metrics in place to where you measure this so you know literally daily or weekly or monthly where you're at on your progress. Marketing and communication. This is critical, obviously, to client acquisition. So, developing your marketing that works for your business and your market so that you stand out, you're unique, and you're attracting your qualified ideal client is critical, and the proper communication to make that happen. The other component is sales mastery. I personally created the healthy selling system, and there's a long story behind that. All by itself, it's a 90-minute webinar just to tell people I've been paid $50,000 to implement the healthy selling system in business. The difference is I was there in person, and I had to do all of the hiring and the training and the script writing, and obviously it was time away from my family, and so I thanks to technology, obviously I don't have to travel to deliver the healthy selling system, so I've included that in the business growth explosion blueprint under the client attraction and multiplication module. There's a whole bunch more. This is just the first component. Second component, group coaching. Like even with everything that's in there, you still need to have guidance and direction. So there's group coaching twice a month. I'll train specifically on the client attraction and multiplication. You're able to ask questions specific to your business and your situation, and obviously get live answers. The third part is coaching call archive. Everything's recorded. It's archived. You have access to it 24/7. And, critical component, because, you want to be able to go back and listen to things, or you might miss a call. And so then it would be available. And then you have email questions. You can email questions specific to your needs. And if you send them in before the coaching call, they'll get answered on the call. They'll be answered live. If the question isn't answered on the call, well, then I'll make sure it gets answered and I put it up in the group, unless it's, a private question. And then exclusive Facebook group. It's a secret group. This is members only. There's a wonderful thing to get feedback in a safe environment. You get to build relationships. It could easily become joint ventures. You get valuable insight from different business owners in different fields. That perspective from a different industry is a great way to innovate. And the person that innovates owns their market. Plus, you get to make new friends. The fact is that the client attraction and multiplication module, it's easily a $5,000 value. I'll put it to you like this. If you understood, let's say one client is worth $1,000 to you. And so you learn through the process how to bring in one new client a week. Well, that's an additional $50,000 a year. Over 10 years, it's $500,000. If you amp that up and you bring in 5 new clients a week, that's $5,000 a week. Obviously, it's $250,000 a year. It's $2.5 million over the course of 10 years. It's $2.5 million. So, is it worth $5,000 to have that ongoing gain? And the beautiful thing is, once you learn this stuff, you can apply it to any business because it works regardless. So anyway, automated client attraction and a multiplication, easily a $5,000 value. Group coaching, many, many, many coaches charge at least $600. At one coach, we had a $1,200 a month program for group coaching. Anyway, $2,500 value. It could easily be more. Coaching call archive, certainly worth $100 a month. That'd be $1,200, $1,000 value. Email questions. I have a good friend of mine. He's a consultant. He charges $2,500 a month for email support. So it's $1,000 value. And the Facebook group, there's lots of people out there right now in the consulting industry that are charging $1,000 for just the group, none of this other stuff. And, so altogether, it's over $10,000 worth of business building success materials. Easily worth it, even if you paid more, because again, we're talking about ongoing value in your business. The investment to join the Business Growth Explosion Blueprint today is $7,500. Now, I want you to knock it out of the park. And I know that even with the client attraction, the coaching, the email support, the group, everything, one of the challenges people have is what they do with their online presence. So I created the Online Market Domination Package. Now, this includes a custom website, which could be worth anywhere from $500 to $5,000. I've got $3,500 in there. It includes the website hosting, search engine optimization. It's a mobile-friendly website, so that means it'll look good on any device, tablet or otherwise. Google Analytics will be set up, and we'll do a local and mobile paid ad campaign on your behalf. That is easily worth between $1,700 and $7,000. Local marketing, so you can get found locally. That means you're going to be found everywhere. Google, Bing, Yahoo profiles all set up. Local citations, we'll make sure if you're already out there, we'll fix them. These are enhanced citations. Major syndications. That means we'll have you on over 1,000 different sites. This is all so that you get found. Somebody's looking, they get found. And here's what's important to understand. In this day and age, smartphones outsell PCs 3-to-1. You find somebody under 30, they got a smartphone in their hand. Actually, it's anybody under 50. We also do review and reputation monitoring. This package alone by itself is easily worth, oops, I went a little too quick for the system. Let me back up a second. This one's $7,400 worth of information, and it's not coming up on the slide, but that's all right. And then I have social marketing. There's another component. There's 4 components to the online market domination. We'll make sure your Facebook and major social sites are all set up. Some businesses charge $700, $800 just to set up Facebook all by itself. We'll create a blog for you that's branded for your business. We'll do monthly posts. These are with live authors. It's not, actually quality written material. We'll do Facebook and blog marketing. Again, these are original written posts. Video posted on your profiles where it's allowed. We do viral and content marketing. That package alone, along with the blog optimization, is easily worth another $7,000. And then the last thing is the video, because part of online domination is video marketing. And so we will create 30-second montage videos for you every single month. We'll do professional voiceover and script writing. We'll create a dedicated YouTube channel for you, advanced video distribution, video optimization and marketing, and more. But the total value of the whole package, like I said, $7,000 for the website, $1,600 for the local marketing, $7,400 for social, $6,000 for the video. That whole package is worth between $16,000 and $22,000. Now, remember what I talked to you about? What's a new client worth to you? And you remember, you want to create your business growth explosion, 33% increase in each of your areas, clients, revenue, repeat orders. You will have 135% increase in your business. Where would that put you? What does that feel like? What's that worth? Now, I'm on a mission. And the beautiful thing is, because I'm doing a special marketing test, I want to impact 1,000 entrepreneurs, and I want to impact 1,000 small business owners. I want their lives changed. So if you sign up today, it's not $7,500. It isn't even $5,000. It would be worth every penny. And it will be that price one day. But right now, during this marketing test, it's not. In fact, you sign up today, it's only $29.70. That's less than half. It's a huge discount. One client for most people will pay for this over and over and over. Any one of the strategies I help you implement would pay for it over and over and over. Over the course of a year, that's $8.14 a day. Nowadays, that's what an average lunch runs. Can you think of a better way to spend $8, a dime, and 4 pennies? I didn't think so. Or, I understand small business. So from a cash flow point of view, if you need to, you could do 12 installments of $297 per month. But look, you don't have to take my word for it right now. You don't even have to make up the final decision right now. I stand behind it with 100% money back guarantee. Try out the Business Growth Explosion Blueprint today. I am confident you're going to be blown away. Take a full 30 days. If for any reason, or for that matter, no reason at all, you're not 100% thrilled, I'll give you 100% money back guarantee. If you don't get 100% clear on exactly what you need to do to massively grow your business, if you don't enjoy regaining your freedom so you're never overwhelmed again, if you don't agree that you finally have full control and can dominate your marketplace, just drop me an email for a rapid, no hassle, no questions asked, 100% refund. So you're standing at the crossroads. The road before you. The one on the left is the road you've been traveling already. It's rough, uphill, rocky, full of pain and toil. On the right, the road less traveled, it's smooth, paved, and proven to be the easiest way to grow your business, regain your freedom, and enjoy the profits and lifestyle you so richly deserve. Choose the right road. Let's walk that road together. 1 year from today, you will certainly arrive. The real question is, where? If you want to be somewhere different than where you are now, you'll have to do something different than what you're currently doing. Take the first step toward a different future and order today. Frankly, only one of these choices makes any sense at all. Please, for your own sake, join me in creating your business growth explosion today. I want to help you set the processes and procedures in place so your business runs smoothly and predictably for the rest of your life, or as long as you want to own it. If you want to take an extended vacation, your business should continue to grow without hiccup. I want you to have that life filled with business growth, freedom, peace, and profits, and a bright outlook. It's time to accept this risk-free investment in your and your family's future. And join me now. Here's how to order. Go to www.mdmcmahon.com/blueprint-special/. On there, you can decide which option is best for you, the single pay or the monthly. And then click the Buy Now button under your choice. You can use your credit card or pay with PayPal. It's fast, it's safe, it's 100% secure. In fact, it's 10 times more secure than using a credit card at your favorite restaurant. So that's www.mdmcmahon.com/blueprint-special/. Now, I told you about a special bonus for staying, and I could easily do probably an hour just on this grade sheet. In fact, you join today, and I will make sure that I include an hour session, a bonus session, on exactly how to get the most out of this worksheet. But just real quickly, and I know you can't read it that well, the screen's not that big. This follows the marketing formula of interrupt, engage, educate, and offer. Now, when you get this formula correct, you will have leads coming to you in droves. So for staying to the end, the grading sheet is yours, and you can pick that up. You can download it at mdmcmahon.com/bonus-page. Just go to the page, right mouse, click on it, and select Save As. There's instructions on the page. All you got to do is follow them. So thank you so much for your time.